Stop me if you've heard these, but post frequently on a schedule, post fan art, have a consistent style, engage with your audience, post reels, if on Instagram, post a horny, if on Twitter.
Alright, I get it!
I'm sure that if you look anywhere for how to grow on social media, they'll have something like this, right? Hey, guess how many of these I followed? None of them. Zero. Zilch. Egg. Nothing. I don't follow them. Wanting to grow is fine and normal. We're artists. We want validation. We want to be seen.
Feed me and tell me I'm pretty!
But let me tell you why focusing too hard on these things might be distracting you from what's really important.
Disclaimer, these are all my personal observations. Please take everything with a grain of salt. What worked for me may not necessarily work for you.
Look, we can just scroll through my Instagram as proof, okay? Literally, like, what the hell is going on here? So I posted these twice in a row. There's a croissant for some reason, toilet Miku, regardless on your style, and then I think I wait like 2 months and post nothing. So much for consistency. And then I think for an entire time period, I just give up on like posting rendered stuff, and I just literally post studies for like a straight year. Like, I post this piece of cloth. What's up, everybody? So let me tell you what I think. Did I not follow these because they don't work? No. To be honest, I think they do work. However, let's consider this hypothetical artist who, like, actually doesn't know how to draw yet, but they really, really, really want to make it big on social media. Okay, so now this person, this hypothetical person X, is gonna follow all of these rules, which they do work. But the problem is person X doesn't know how to draw yet. So every single day, they post a single stick person on a very consistent schedule. Very consistently, consistent style, yes. Do you think that this person will get big if they follow all this advice? No, they're not. It's not like this don't work, but you have to think of this as a multiplier. You have to be honest with yourself. Like, what is the air quotes value, the quote value of your work? And by value is not necessarily correlated with how good your art is. If person X basically only draws stick people, but they also include really freaking funny memes, they're such good memes, they're so funny, like they say the funniest stuff in here, then this person X, will grow. Okay? Conversely, you can have the most god-tier artist. He's worked on all the major IPs, but his passion is sci-fi environment concept art, which, by the way, is fantastic. But let's be honest, the average person on Twitter or Instagram isn't likely to be interested in super complex and very technical and super cool sci-fi concept art. So value is a combination of the quality, the relatability, the memeability. It's a combination of a bunch of different things, and it's also different for every social media. What is valuable for Twitter doesn't necessarily mean it's valuable for Instagram. Like, Twitter is like rife with shitposts, okay? If you do a meme, there is a better chance it'll do well on Twitter versus Instagram people, which might not necessarily understand it, yeah? But the most important thing I said, so you have your value here, you have your like tips and tricks here. How it actually works, I'd say, is that if you take your quote value, okay, and you multiply that by tips and tricks, and this will equal to your social media growth. You got it? So what I'm saying is that people tend to over-focus on this part. They're like,
okay, so but when should I post? Is 11 p.m. too late? What if I post at 5 p.m.? Oh, no, it should be 2 p.m. Is that optimal?
yeah, it matters. But the more important thing overall is to think about how you can increase this. Because, like, even if your tips and trick is at the base level, if you do none of these things, it's at 1. If your value is high enough, you will eventually grow. But there's no point doing this if your art has no quote value. And I hate using the word value because it implies that, maybe I shouldn't use the word value. Appeal. Oh yeah, appeal is good. Appeal is really good. Okay, we'll change it to appeal. Do I need to redo that rant except to call it appeal? This is why I took the example of person X just drawing an infinity amount of stick people and following all these rules. His hypothetical value is 0. It doesn't matter how much he follows tips and tricks, it's not gonna work. So how do you find your appeal? What I did was to study a lot. The more I studied, the more I found that people were interested in my art. The most straightforward yet difficult way to increase your appeal is to, just get good at art. I think when I first started on social media, I was like, okay, so I'm drawing fan art. I can't compete with the people with much better art than me. So say I was drawing Fire Emblem Three Houses fan art at the time. If I draw my favorite character standing there looking cool, it's not going to do so well because the person over there is drawing that person standing there looking cool, and it looks 10 times cooler than me. Doesn't work. Gotta think of something else. So where I kind of found a little niche was to draw character interactions, because that's something maybe people don't see as much, and maybe it's a bit more uncommon, and people love thinking about interactions between their favorite characters. So that's kind of the niche I was going for initially. Then I tried to make memes. Those memes I did was a kind of way of me kind of prodding a bit, trying to find appeal. Sure, Toilet Miku, sure, Hot Dog Miku, but I made plenty of memes that were completely lame and everyone thought wasn't funny, so it's a bit of a hit and miss when it comes to memes. Mask your art weakness with more relatable appeal. I'm not saying this. I feel like it's always good to increase your base skill level, because in the end it's about communication. I was trying to communicate a cute relationship to fellow fans of the series. You're trying to communicate like how cool this character looks, and in the end, the better your fundamentals are, the better you will be at having high appeal. I hate to say it, but a lot of it, I do really genuinely think that the best way to grow on social media is to focus on yourself, what you're bringing to the audience, and increasing your base art level will vastly increase the amount of appeal you can bring to your work. Here's the thing, when you also increase your base stats, you become more consistent at being able to pump out appealing things. That's actually the strongest thing about having strong fundamentals, okay? An artist who is not as practiced in fundamentals sometimes just scores like a runaway piece, and then they're like, oh cool, awesome, man, this piece really popped up, oh boy, this is doing numbers, kind of thing. And then they get encouraged by that, and then they try again, but it doesn't work. And that's because they don't have the fundamentals to understand and replicate their pop-off piece. Whereas, if you have stronger fundamentals, you can understand, I see, people like this, and you can replicate it more easily, and then you can continue to have pop-up pieces, If you raise your base stats, you will land more critical hits. Exactly, yeah. I had the most ridiculous things pop up. On my study account, every single time I post some freaking boxes, it pops off. So it's not about how good your art is, all right? I post some dang boxes and they're like, oh shit, 40,000 likes. That's why I'm saying this value or appeal thing doesn't necessarily correlate to the quality of your artwork. Wow, lines, I'm gonna and retweet this. But here's the thing, if you do this, it won't work for you. You're not gonna get 40,000 likes from posting lines or boxes. Here's my hypothesis, okay? This account is primarily followed by people who are interested in the whole Sigma grind set art thing, and then seeing this kind of ridiculous exercise motivates them. And I was like, oh, I'm bored of boxes. Gonna draw mecha. Yeah, no one cares. Everyone just wants to see boxes, actually. I even memed about it because I was like, you guys have got to be kidding me. Do I remember how I grew my first 1,000 followers? Yes, I do, in fact, because it was pretty recent. I started posting my art on social media a couple years ago. My Instagram grew really slowly. I grew my first couple thousand followers on social media exclusively by posting Fire Emblem fan art, and then afterwards Pokemon fan art. Except I tried to focus on ideas more than the quality of art, because I realized that my art really wasn't up to that level. I wasn't necessarily bad at art at the time. Look how serious I was with my comments back in the day. Okay, this is Joven, the Wildfire Knight, Killer Fist's latest character. I'm collecting D20s from around the world, and he was kind enough to give me one! Exclamation mark. If you'd like to do the same, or commission me, head to pcat.io. I drew a picture of #Wraith from #Apex Legends. If you compare it to my most recent post, I think I just say stuff like drawing a nice pair of tits, and this one just says Quasso. I don't care anymore. But here's the thing, right? When you have more followers, obviously the performance of your posts, they kind of get smoothed out by the sheer number that gets to see your post to begin with. So there's no risk that you post it at a certain time and 0 people see it. So let me try to find my first pop-off post. So I was starting to draw Fire Emblem characters. Nothing good yet. Then I realized, like, okay, what if I draw some of my favorite characters together eating cake? This one. Like I said, I wasn't bad at drawing at the time, but it's like, it's not like I'm good either, yeah? This one was like my first post on Twitter with over 1,000 likes. So I was like, oh, cool, man, great, amazing. I'm gonna do more. So I just kept spamming Fire Emblem fan art because it's what I wanted to do. And oh, this one I think was my first real big one. So at this point, my niche was just straight up Fire Emblem fan art. And then I played Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I liked Raihan a regular amount. Do you need to have a consistent theme? Like if you get popular from drawing lots of fan art, if you then decide to draw a realistic background or food or something, would that do worse? Yes. And just because you got, quote, popular from drawing fan art, does that mean you have to draw fan art forever then? What if you lose interest in the thing? Are you just doomed? No, I mean, like, yeah, obviously if I post a random croissant, people are gonna care less. You know who else doesn't care? Me. Sure, everyone else care less. I'm drawing croissants and it makes me happy. Everything got significantly less engagement when I did my own thing, but doesn't matter. I was too occupied with studying and trying to improve to really care that I wasn't getting engagement on social media. At this point, I just started posting memes because I didn't feel like drawing fan art anymore. You know, this kind of stuff. Do I still think Twitter is the best place to post art? I have no idea where I'm supposed to post art. I'm gonna wait till other people figure out where the new hot place for artists to be. I got no clue. Growing your social media accounts as an artist is tough. And remember, I'm not saying that following tips and tricks don't work, but all they do is put your work in front of more eyeballs. But if your work isn't what people want to see, then you're not going to see the growth you're looking for. It's tough out there for artists, so good luck and keep drawing.